All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Price Marketing, the third P of marketing that we've covered so far. Before I dive into this, sorry I can't be there today. I hope you guys are having a good day. Be nice to Mr. Montgomery. That guy is a legend at CDC. I actually had him as a seventh grader. So you can ask him stories about me in my I think it was fourth year of teaching that I had him. But he's awesome. So be nice to him. We're gonna drive through this thing, and then you'll have your in-class price marketing assignment for you guys. Okay, so let's dive in. So price. A lot of people think of price marketing. They forget that price is a tool for marketing. Most people think price is something that you set based on the market, which is true, or based on the profits you want to make, which can be true. But price is also something that can be manipulated pretty easily, like hour by hour, actually, and it can draw in new customers and it can be a way to reward existing customers. So if you look at price as a tool instead of looking at it as just a way to get to make money or a revenue stream, then you can actually create some pretty powerful price-based marketing initiatives, and we'll look at a couple of those as we go. So the first type of pricing that you can do, or pricing initiative, is beachhead pricing. This is when you start something and you intentionally keep the price really, really low in order to win a certain market, right? So you have a certain demographic you're trying to reach to, and so you might say, "Hey, we're trying to reach this new area, like AT&T and DirecTV. They merged, and they're trying to take over a new demographic area. So they want to be the go-to cable and internet company for Northeast Ohio, for example. Well, for Northeast Ohio, they'll offer a price for their cable package that's lower than anybody else's price. And they'll get a bunch of new signups because, hey, that's a ridiculously low price. But the intention is always that eventually we'll raise that price to what we normally charge. We win the market, and then we depend on loss aversion, the fact that once they have it, they're not willing to give it up in order to retain that market. So that's beachhead market, intentionally low, maybe even losing money on it, and then ramping it up later after you've won over that marketplace. Next is skimming pricing. Skim pricing is when you have a really, really high demand product and you release a limited version of it, right? So you only release some. It's the same product, but at first you release like 100 and you charge a very high price for the first 100. And then later on, you release a larger number of them and you charge a slightly lower price. And then maybe a year later, the price gets even lower than that. The goal is to make maximum profit because the people that are willing to pay a premium to get it first are your diehards, right? They want it and they want it right now, and they believe it's important for them to have it first. So they're willing to pay a higher price. But there are some people that are going to wait until a year, 2 years later and pay that lower price, and you still want to make those profits. So by lowering the price, every time you lower the price, you access a new category. We see this happen with Xboxes and PlayStations. You also see it with iPhones, right? When iPhones are first released, they're at the highest price. And then a month later, you can see that price starting to be ratcheted down. Okay, so that's price skimming. Next is competition price. This is when you look at your competitors and you simply say, okay, are we going to match that price, make it the same? Are we going to try to undercut their price? Or are we going to intentionally price above their price for similar product because of the value that we have? So that's another type of market or marketing with price, right? I look at the competition, say, look at what they have. Here's what they charge. Here's what we charge. And here's why, right? And so it is a direct comparison, and you use that price to do it. Now, most people think, okay, I just undercut their price. That's not always the best choice, right? They always call undercutting prices a race to the bottom. If you undercut their price, they might undercut yours. So why not just match their price? Say, hey, you can get that plus everything else, and we will always match the price of the lowest price item. So a lot of bookstores are competing with Amazon, right? They say, hey, we'll just match that Amazon price. But sometimes it makes sense to price higher and just say, look, they charge a lower price. It's true, but you're getting a lower quality product as well. Okay, so that's competition pricing. Next is product line pricing. It's where you have several different items and you charge different prices for each of the items. Normally, they're differentiated by features or by quality, right? So this one has these 14 features, this one has 10 features, This one has 5 features and this one has 1 feature, and they're all priced differently. And the goal is to access many, many demographics, many target markets at the same time, giving everybody an entry point into that marketplace. Next, we have bundle pricing. You've seen this time and time again. This is a great one for small businesses. It's where you take several items, you combine them together, and you say, if you buy this package deal, we're going to give you a discount that is lower than what you would get if you were to buy these individually. Right? This oftentimes incentivizes people to buy more than they were originally planning to buy, which helps you gain profitability out of it. There's also buy one, give one options or get one, buy one, get one options or BOGOs that also kind of follow the same template. So consider bundle pricing as a potential pricing marketing tool. Next is premium pricing. Premium pricing is intentionally setting the price of your good or service very, very high because you want to indicate to everybody that that product is exclusive. The best like pop culture reference, it's a little dated now, is when Lonzo Ball, who is a basketball player, released a brand new shoe, and that shoe he charged like $400 for. And he didn't have any demand at all, but because he charged such a high price, people are like, wow, that must be a premium exclusive shoe. And it attracted a certain demographic to the product. While it might cost the same to make a Lexus as it would a Toyota, they charge a premium for the Lexus because they're trying to access that more exclusive group. So there might be some premium pricing initiatives that you could use with your small business as well. Psychological pricing is really just understanding that people think or buy with their minds and their hearts, right? And so oftentimes if something's a 9 at the end, people will round down, right? So like in this gas station, it's 185 and 9 tenths of a penny. Well, obviously you're paying that extra tenth, you don't get a tenth of a penny back. But when people see that, they say, oh, gas is 185, when in fact gas is 186, right? Also, anything priced below $1, we equate to as free, right? So like bubble gum, it might be 89 cents. Well, that's free in our minds. You just add it on. It's not a big deal. So most people will buy using that metric. So consider, hey, if they're ending all their prices with zeros, maybe doing 99 will get them more profitability as people kind of ramp it down or round down in their heads. Optional pricing is when an organization sells a bunch of extras along with the product to push up the total price, right? So you buy this certain product and they're like, hey, I see you're buying that product. These are products that go along with that to augment your experience, right? I was buying shoes the other day. When I was checking out, they're like, hey, we got these socks for runners. I was like, socks for runners? Is that a thing? But then I bought some because I was like, well, that looks pretty cool. And it pushed up my price. So having those add-ons, think of it as like the checkout counter. It's the candy bars at the checkout counter. It's the phone chargers. It's the bubble gum. It's the things that you can add to it to ramp up the price. Amazon and other online places do this really, really well, where they just add a bunch of products. At the end, they say, hey, people who bought this also bought these things. Would you like to bundle them up? Okay. Well, there are 3 types of kind of approaches to pricing. One is called cost plus. Uh, don't really recommend it, but especially if you're a startup, this is where you kind of start, right? Because you don't know who your competition is, you don't know what your value is. So it's basically here's the cost of our product, here's how much profit we want to make. Add those two together, you have a price, right? So if the price it costs $10 to make, you want to make $10 in profit on everyone that or 50% profit margin, then that's going to equal $20 total, and that's the price you charge people. The problem is that ignores demand and competition, but a lot of small businesses start with this, but I do not recommend it. Cost-based pricing takes cost as a major factor. Like we cannot charge below this because we'll lose money, right? And so cost is something that they're always paying attention to because oftentimes that's because they're not selling a bunch. Like if I sold millions and millions of something, my margins can be very thin, right? I could be making pennies on every unit, but because I sell millions of them, I make money. Whereas if I'm only selling 3 or 4, like in a car business, 3 or 4 a week, well, my margins have to be pretty chunky in order to make enough money to justify selling cars and paying workers. That makes sense. So I take costs into account, but it's not the only thing I'm thinking about. Value pricing is probably the best way to do it, though, although it's hard. It's not quantifiable. Value pricing is, what value am I offering the customer? You've heard me say this many times in our givvies. What value am I adding? What would they actually pay? And oftentimes this comes through surveying customers, even customers who've already bought something. Like, hey, you paid $5.99 for that combo meal. What would you pay for that combo meal? What do you think it's worth? And if they're like, I think it's worth about $2, well, you got your value proposition wrong. Or if they say, hey, I'd pay $15 for this same meal. Is that good? Well, maybe you have a little potential to raise that price and not lose customers. So think about the benefit you bring and then try to value that. And again, don't just do that on a whim. Only do it once you've surveyed your customers. So that's value pricing. Other ones, I'm going to go through these real quick. Loyalty pricing, meaning you buy one thing, it's cheap, and then the add-ons, the parts of it are sold at a premium. So your razors are a classic example. You buy the razor head and your first couple of blades, and it's like $10. But then once you have the system, you have to buy all the things that go with the system. The toothbrushes are the same way. The Oral-B toothbrush, electric toothbrush might cost you $80 one time, but then they actually make their money from all of the heads that go with it. So does your small business have a product that is a system? If it's a system, can you divide up those things and sell additional items that can augment the experience for the future, right? So if you think you might have something like that, let's talk. Other ones, bargain pricing. This means you're the bottom of the barrel. You cut the prices, you make it the lowest possible price in order to increase market share and or winning the market, increase your customer base. Not recommended. Again, oftentimes this is a race to the bottom. This is your odd lots versus your target, right? Odd lots is your or big lots, I should say. It was odd lots when I was a kid. Big lots is your bargain shopping place. It's hard to make money doing that, and you skimp on quality, and it's oftentimes you won't win your market share doing that unless you have a really good value proposition, which we'll talk about later. Market segmentation is you provide a product that hits each area of a market. So here, Pedigree is a dog food company, and they hit a lot of different things. They have dog sizes. So you got food for a small dog and a large dog. You've got food for puppies and for old dogs. You've got food for sensitive dogs and active dogs, healthy weight and healthy joints, all those different things. Now, cool, right? But necessary? Probably not. But by providing all of these different things, people create brand loyalty, and they're likely to continue to buy this same brand over time. And it reaches many, many, many different markets. Uh, the freemium model is, hey, we give you something for free, or we add a free item to whatever you're buying, and we don't charge you at all. Sometimes you give something for free and then create a paywall. So like, hey, this is free. And then when you try to access things that are a premium version, we charge you. Or we ask you if you want to get this, we'll charge you. Or you could offer something for free and then just make money from advertisers, like on an app, for example, or make money through business to business sales and data sales and things like that. So that's the freemium model. It is very commonplace in our economy right now. People love free, but once they buy into a system or a program, oftentimes are willing to pay extra to stay in that or have added features. Loss leaders is something that's very common, especially on Black Friday. If you ever get like a newspaper that has a printout of ads with all the prices on it, most of those are loss leaders, meaning they're going to lose money on Pepsi, two for $3, or Tide, $11.99, or the Totino's Party Pizza. They're going to lose money on maybe every single one of those, but they get you in the door. And when they get you in the door, you're not just going to buy Pepsi and Party Pizza. You're probably going to buy other things as well. So the loss leader is I sell something at a loss. I lose money on it, but it draws people in and I make money on everything else that I sell. Now, some people come in and just buy Pepsi, but most people aren't going to do that. It's a tried and true method of getting boots in your door. Okay, that's it. That's a lot of different pricing techniques. Hopefully, you're able to get a couple of those down. FA 3.A is available for you. It's called Price Marketing. It's 10 questions you should do very well. Remember, it's open note. And then after that, jump into your in class for price. And I will see you when you return or when I return on Tuesday. And remember, on Tuesday, we have Mr. Warren is going to be joining us, and Mr. Warren will be our teacher. So make sure you read chapters 1 through 5 from your book, People Styles at Work. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I will see you soon.